Hi guys, so I'm back with another entry. Today the question that we will be talking about is how does money and the cost of things compare to your home country? So today I'll be comparing the cost of things from here in China to my home country of America. So the first thing that you guys should know is that money here is called yuan or kuai, and it is roughly 6 kuai to $1 US. Everything here in China is considerably cheaper than in America. Pretty much everything that I buy on a day-to-day basis is so much cheaper here in China than in America. I don't know if that has to do with the quality of it or anything, but I am fine, so I think that it's okay. So one of the main things I buy all the time, if you don't know, you can't drink the tap water here in China. It is very common in China to drink hot water. I haven't really gotten used to that. I don't really like hot water that much. I will drink hot tea. I really like hot tea, but hot water I'm just not a big fan of. So I tend to buy water bottles. I do have a reusable water bottle. They have a hot water like dispenser here that you can fill it up in, but I get really impatient and don't think ahead of time, so a lot of times if I just go get it, that's what I'll have to drink is hot water. So instead I buy these big bottles, and this is 1.5 liters, and this costs 2.5 kuai, so that is about 35-40 cents in America. A normal sized water bottle, like the ones that you would buy like for $1.25 in America, costs about is 1 kuai here, and that is about 15 cents. So here in China you can get a thing of water for 15 cents US dollars. So that is pretty cheap. The other things that are really cheap here is the food we get. Right outside my dorm window over here, there is a street of different restaurants, and there's probably 3 or 4 that we go to on a regular basis, and you can get a meal there that I have not been able to finish once for between 6 and 10 kuai, and that ranges between $1 and like probably $1 and $2 in America. So you can get a whole meal for about $2 or less in US dollars. So that's pretty good, and the food is actually pretty good. I like it all, and it considerably fills you. I have not been able to finish a meal. I always have to ask people to, hey, you still hungry? Eat some of my food. So it's really cheap, and I really enjoy that. On the other hand, there are places that are expensive also, especially if you want to get American food here. There are American like cafes and restaurants, and they do speak English there, and it's kind of nice. We've only gone there a couple times. It's nice to, get some American food, but technically it's not really American food. It's Chinese-based American food. It's like when you get Chinese food in America, it's not really Chinese food, it's like American Chinese food, and so here it's kind of like Chinese American food, but it's really expensive. The last time I went, I think me and my boyfriend spent probably around 150 kuai, which is like probably over $20, I think, so for a meal, which is a little bit on the expensive side in America, I'd say. So here it's like pretty expensive compared to what we normally spend. A lot of the times on the weekends we'll go out for Korean food, which is probably one of my favorites. Basically you order like a bunch of meats, and they put a grill in front of you, and you grill the meat yourself, and then you eat it. You get like this like soybean like sauce or something like that, and you get like a bunch of different side dishes like kimchi and those kinds of things, tofu and things like that, and you take a lettuce and you put the meat in there and put the sauce and put like whatever side dishes you want to put it, and like roll it up like a little wrap, and you eat it. And that's a little more expensive than what we normally eat. It costs between 20 and 30 kuai per person, depending on how much food we have or how many people we have, but still that's only about, I don't know, like $6 per person for a pretty, that's what we consider our fancy meal of the week, so that's pretty good, $5 or $6 per person for a good sized meal. Okay, so moving on to necessities. Necessities are, I would say, probably around the same price as they are in America. kind of have forgotten the prices in America, but I'd say they're relatively the same. There is an aisle in the stores that is all like foreign products, and those are considerably more expensive because obviously they're imported from other countries. So those are pretty expensive, so I try to stay away from those because when I say like expensive, I mean like they are considerably more expensive than like the products that are here in China. So I try to get Chinese products from the stores most of the time. They're pretty good priced. Nothing like crazy cheap, but not anything more than they would cost in America, so that's fine. If you have watched my previous video, you'll know that transportation here is pretty cheap. A bus ride costs 1 kwai, which is relatively 15 cents in America. A taxi, for the most part, costs about 9 kwai, which is like $1.50 or something in America, so it's pretty cheap. Living here, I live in the dorms. I forgot how much exactly, but we actually talked in class about the comparison rate of university in China and university in America, and the university in America is quite a bit more expensive. My university cost about, for the dorms, because I'm living in the dorms, so the dorm at my university back home in America cost roughly $3,000 a semester to live in the dorms. Here, our teacher told us that the average amount spent on dorms per semester is about 600 kwai, which is relatively $100 US. So imagine spending $100 US to live in a dorm for a semester. That would be freaking amazing, and more people would probably live in a dorm. I know I didn't because I was like, that is way too expensive and I'm not going to do that. But I got to have my dorm experience here in China, and it's way more cheaper, so that's really nice. But living like in an apartment, because there's not, I don't know if you know anything about China, but in where I'm from in America, it's like you have your own house, and it's like a relatively big house. Like my house has 2 stories and like tons of rooms and like a huge backyard. Well, that's not how it is here. It's big buildings, big apartment buildings, huge tall things. Like I have a friend who lives on like, I don't know, 25, 30th floor or something like that, and it's like pretty high up there. And so apartments are pretty expensive because the land here is just, there's like no land left, and so everything is built really tall. So that's really expensive. But I live in the dorm and it's way cheaper, so that doesn't really affect me that much. But if I would ever want to live in China, that is something that I would have to keep in mind because the living expenses are quite a bit more expensive. Cars are very, very expensive. Most people don't use cars. Like the average daily person doesn't have a car. They walk or they take the bus because it's very convenient, and it's only a kwai to take the bus, and walking is free, plus you get a workout. Everything here in China is relatively cheap. We have a convenience store that is like right underneath, well, it's actually in the building. It's like on the first floor, but you have to like go outside and go back into it, and everything in there is pretty cheap. I bought a snack today, and I bought a milk tea. Yes, milk tea. Delicious! It is literally just tea and milk mixed together, and there's different flavors, and my favorite is chocolate milk tea. It's literally just like black tea and milk and some chocolate syrup mixed together, and it is absolutely delicious. It is 2 kwai in the convenience store downstairs, and that is 30 cents about in America. And I also got some like milk crackers. They kind of taste like animal crackers, and they were like 4 kwai, I think, which is, I don't know, less than $1. So that was my snack. And it wasn't like a little pack, it was like a big pack that you would buy from a store for like less than $1. So that's pretty nice. And so my whole snack cost about $1, and it was really good. And we always get like a bunch of stuff from that store because it's pretty cheap, and it's right there. And also right outside the store, like right outside the gate of our dorms, there is a fruit stand that you can buy fruit at, and fruit is relatively cheap too. The stores here, there's some cheap stores, but a lot of these stores are more expensive because a lot of like Chinese women are into name brand things because they're like, oh, the quality, blah blah blah. I don't really care about quality. I'm more about cheapness. So I tend, when I buy stuff, to go to the night market, which is about a 30-minute drive from where I live, and it's literally just like tent after tent after tent of people like selling things for way cheap. yeah, it's really cheap. Like, I bought a lot of the stuff. I don't even know where they get this stuff from, but a lot of the stuff still has the original price tag from when it was sold in the store. And I bought a brown like leather vest thing for like 25 kwai, and it was originally like 1,000 kwai. So yeah, it's really cheap there because they don't care. So if you are looking for a place that is cheap to study abroad, I would highly suggest coming to China. You do have to get used to the things. The quality of things aren't as good, but if you're okay with that, it is really cheap to live here. So we buy street food a lot. Street food is relatively cheap, but it can be dirty. You have to watch out because a lot of places like reuse oil and it gets really gross. So you have to trust the places you go to. But yeah, you can buy like a meal for. I always get like stir-fried noodles or stir-fried rice from this one place, and it costs like 4 to 50 kwai, and it's really nice. Cheap and yummy and delicious, and yay yumminess. Yeah, okay, so that's China. That's the cost of things in China. Pretty freaking cheap. Unless you plan on living here, that is when it gets expensive because apartments and such are on the expensive side, but everything else is, you're set. Okay, bye guys.